Hello once again, Niner Faithful, and welcome back to another episode of 49ers Playbook on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. If you caught my offensive review, welcome. If you haven't, I'll have the link in the description below, but this is part 2, looking back on how the 49ers were able to absolutely dominate the Eagles 42-19. First, thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You are a huge part of making these videos possible. We're also really close to launching the Johnny Dale's Football Academy members website, so stay tuned for that. But let's jump to the film and see how the defense was able to largely hold one of the league's better offenses to less than 20 points. You're watching Johnny Dale's Football Academy. On the first drive, we did give up a big explosive to A.J. Brown, so we'll take a look at it. We're showing two-man pre-snap, which is usually soft over the middle, and the Eagles are running a China concept, which is an out route paired with a short in route. So Hurts pre-snap wants to go to Brown on the short in route. Post-snap, we rotate into cover one robber. If we run it back and look at Brown and Ward off the snap, they do get physical, and Brown is a load of a guy to handle. His size and strength reminds me of Terrell Owens. Owens used to do this to corners all the time, but the play is still there to be stopped as you're funneling the throw to your help. Jair Brown played really well in this game, but not here. Just takes a bad angle, and instead of a stop for fourth down, it's a big explosive. But on the next play, we'll see the start of a theme in this game: fantastic run defense. We'll keep it at the all-22 first, but this is a staple play in the Eagles offense, and one that, when I did a scouting video on the Eagles last year before the NFC Championship game, a play I was most concerned about because they put the defense in such a bind. It's an RPO or run-pass option, and they'll come with a number of pass options off of it. They'll run slants over the middle to stress the backside linebacker, or they'll do what they do here: have a screen pass set up. It puts Fred Warner in a bind to be the +1 player, so they'll read handoff or throw based off Fred. Fred takes a screen pass, so they hand it off. From the end zone, let's see how they were able to shut down this run. What makes this run so hard to stop is what they can do with Kelce. Some people call this pin and pull. I first learned it as center lead. But the 49ers have been using a cheat front a lot this year. What's that mean? You have your outside wide nines, which we hear a lot about, but your inside players are playing with a 3 technique, which is outside shoulder of the guard, and that's Givens here, and then Hargrave is playing a 2-eye technique, which is inside shoulder of the guard. To pull this off against a run-heavy team, your inside guys have to be able to both anchor and move because you're giving up a lot of space in the middle of the line. But it does give Hargrave a better angle than most on this play. Most have a 1 technique, which is outside shoulder of the center. But they have Dickerson block down and seal and pull Kelce around. Like I talked about, Philly's design will give them +1 in the run game. So to defeat it, guys have to stack and shed their blocks. Watch the way Greenlaw fills on this run. He reads Kelce pull and stuffs him. I mean stuffs him in the hole. Disengages and makes the tackle. That's as textbook a linebacker fill as you'll see. On the first drive, the team was able to hold Philadelphia to a field goal after they got deep in 49ers territory. Here, the Eagles are trying to get an off-tackle run. This is a Mike-designated run, meaning Jalen Hurts will identify the Mike pre-snap, which you see him declaring Dre Greenlaw as the Mike, and they'll run away from him, where they can get numbers. From the end zone, the key will be how they handle Javon Hargrave. They want to get a reach block on him with Kelce and have Dickerson get up on Fred Warner. But Hargrave does a great job of occupying Dickerson just long enough for Fred Warner to be able to pursue and fill, and the pursuit by the line is textbook to squeeze the cutback lane. This forces Swift to bounce it outside where the play isn't designed to go, so the blocking angles aren't set up for it. Along with the pursuit, it stretches out to the sideline for almost no gain. Then on third down, they're going to try and isolate A.J. Brown on Mooney Ward on a fade. Ward just plays his textbook. He's really been playing at a high level since the bye week. From the end zone, let's give Fred Warner an Oscar for his sell on this contact. One thing that's been a huge boost for this defense is the stellar play from Diamador Lenoir in the slot. As Philadelphia comes with motion, you're going to see the linebacker shift as Lenoir comes into view. This motion changes the run fits to where Lenoir is now responsible for what's called the C gap, or the gap between the tight end and the tackle. The Eagles are running this double wham play. They'd have a good gain, but Lenoir did a phenomenal job filling the C gap. Then, as the Eagles are again deep in the red zone, we get a big coverage sack. I talked about the improved play of Mooney Ward and Lenoir. Now we'll talk about Ambry Thomas and Lenoir. The Eagles are trying to go play action and are running a double post concept, which is, well, double post routes. Yep, original, I know. We're playing with Gibson as a shallow help defender and Warner as a spy. So for the back end, they're one-on-one on anything deep. This is outstanding. I mean outstanding coverage by Lenoir and Thomas against two of the better wide receivers in the league. Jalen Hurts has nowhere to go with the ball, and the contain rush is fantastic, and they really just let Hurts drift himself into a deep sack that forces Philadelphia to settle for another field goal, and the last time they'd hold the lead in the game. Back on the next drive, they force a 3-and-out, and again, it starts with stopping the run. They're now going to try a crack toss play, where you crack down on the edge and pull a tackle out, with Kelce getting out to block as well. They dress this up with jet sweep action. This is another really good play by Lenoir. So before, he was responsible for the C-gap. Well, now with Gibson down in the box, Gibson is the C-gap player, while Lenoir is what's called the force defender, or the one responsible for forcing the play back inside. I love the suddenness in how he plays this. He reads run and doesn't just take an angle to go make a tackle, he plays his force responsibility perfectly, getting out to force this run back inside to his help. If we take it back a little, also great job by Gibson slipping Kelce's block in space to fill on the run. That is exactly how you coach this up. If you're a coach out there looking to teach your guys run fits on the edge, this is a textbook example for teaching tape. So on 2nd and 10, after getting no yards on the crack toss, they're going to try and work an RPO to A.J. Brown. Let's just appreciate the closing speed of Fred Warner. Like I showed earlier, this play is based on a read from Fred Warner. If he sits at the snap, Hurts is going to throw the screen because by design, a linebacker is not supposed to be able to sit on the run, then chase down the screen. But from this point, he's going to beat A.J. Brown to a spot. That's insane. And also a nice job and tackle by Jair Brown in pursuit as well. One thing I love about the pass rush game plan in this one was that they weren't going to let Jalen Hurts just have free runs to his right. He got out a few times, but there was always pursuit there. A lot was made of the matchup of Nick Bosa on Lane Johnson, and I don't think this was a real accurate example. Bosa didn't come with his normal arsenal of pass rush moves. It was abundantly clear he had a specific job. Most of his pass rushes was just a bull rush to the exact same spot, and it was always at the target depth of Hurts' dropbacks. They wanted Hurts to feel the pressure of a collapsing pocket from that side, but Bosa wasn't going to give up an easy lane for him to roll right. I saw this over and over again just like this. It was one of the most unselfish displays from a premier pass rusher you'll see. A lot of people have asked about some of these plays where Hurts seemed to just sit back in the pocket forever. Early in the year we struggled with some of these, but these guys are playing so disciplined. The Eagles are trying a hard run action fake and a drift post behind it with full max protect. This is really a one-man route. And early in the year, we were giving up some of these plays where teams would go full max protect. But here, there's no bite on the run fake and they drop into the throwing lanes. Think of all the times we've run these drift routes and they're almost always open. That's how the vast majority of defenses in the league will get caught, but not ours. So Hurts has nowhere to go and it's a sack. After they do manage to get a first down on 3rd and 19, we see another really good play from Ambry Thomas. So we're in cover 3 zone and the Eagles are trying to run Haas. It's hitches outside and a seam. So you have hitches on the outside paired with seam routes. Kyle calls this smack gator. Usually the read is on the middle safety. Whichever side he shades to, you throw the other. Hurts goes after Thomas's side, but Thomas reads this really well and made a heck of a play. This wasn't called pass interference, and I'll explain why. Thomas had his head turned around looking for the ball. A lot of times you'll see balls underthrown and the defender runs into the receiver and they call flag, but they don't here. Why? With Thomas turning and looking for the ball and it being underthrown, he has as much right to the ball as the receiver does per the rules. So if he's going after the ball on something that's underthrown, the receiver doesn't have the right to go through Thomas to get to the ball. If his head isn't turned around, he's not going after the ball, he's playing the receiver, therefore loses the right to the ball from the officials. And that's a great play by Thomas. We then hold up well on another good coverage play. We're showing cover 2 zone pre-snap and the Eagles have a 2-zone beater dialed up. But post-snap, we'll bring Jair Brown down in cover 3 buzz and are able to defeat the concept. With nowhere to go with the ball, Hurts scrambles and it's 4th down. Great call by Wilkes and good job on the disguise by the guys on the field. But I guess we see why their head of security thought he could participate on the field after Hurts threw the ball to him. Then, after Dre Greenlaw got ejected and Philly was able to score off the 30 yards of penalties, we get another 3 and out. This is 2nd down after another good stop against the run and the Eagles are running a double drift concept. We're in cover 4 and I'm not sure what Jalen is looking at because the play was open. He has his eyes on Warner who's shaded to Hurts' left, but he keeps locked onto that side and then the pressure gets to him to force an incomplete pass. Then they force 4th down, stopping Hurts short of the line to gain. Hurts doesn't like what he sees and has a lane open, so he takes off. Fred Warner, though, doesn't allow him to get to the line to gain. This is a textbook open field tackle. He doesn't overcommit, reads the ball carrier, and makes a great open field tackle, and Hurts takes a big hit which put him out of the game for a little while. After that, the Eagles were able to put together a long scoring drive, but the game was already pretty much put away with the 49ers up 35-19 at the end of it and pulled their starters the next drive. Overall, it was a really strong performance by the defense anchored by a good plan, great run defense, and superb play from the secondary. This was one of the biggest tests of the year for the defense and they rose to the challenge. Up next are the Seahawks, who probably are not real excited to have to come and play the 49ers again after getting blown out on Thanksgiving, with San Francisco having the added motivation of being able to secure a playoff spot, as well as now within only 1 game of the Eagles for the number 1 seed. But until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.